1000 United 2151.
Denver approach, good morning, United 1259-251, descending via the ski 3 with Sierra.
United 1259, Denver approach, landing RNAV Zulu approach, runway 16 right.
RNAV Zulu 16 right, United 1259.
Howdy, howdy, everyone. Today is my official PilotEdge debut for the Rotate MD11. I think I understand this plane somewhat enough to fly it on this network. So I already did one recording, which I think might have been my 2 recordings ago to YouTube, which was the MD11. That was my first impressions. I've learned just a couple things since then to make my life a little easier with the plane. So hopefully y'all will actually get something out of this video. Also, the sounds that I'm using is a payware sounds from Mango, and the sounds are, they're okay. But more importantly, they have screwed up some of the stock sounds, like the alert sounds and so on and so forth. So just keep that in mind. If you're looking at the Mango sounds, wait till they do an update, because right now there's a few alerts that don't work, which I'll show you when we go through the setup process. So we're flying on, we're going to do FedEx Virtual. Might as well get some credit for it. And we're going to go from Los Angeles to Oakland. We're going to have a nice little headwind here. We're going to do the Lady J4 out of LA and the MZO3 into Oakland, San Francisco Bay Area. We're going to file 300. This is our 0 fuel weight, 429.4. MD11, going high on the cost index, give a little extra fuel that way. We'll do a little bit less than that in the actual FMC, or McDo, or whatever it's called in this plane. You got 55 minutes of airtime, that's because of the headwind. Looks like we got a 33 knot average headwind. So we're going to take 36,554 for block fuel. And so the things you're going to want for the MD11 is average wind, all right, block fuel, trip fuel, taxi fuel, 0 fuel weight, payload, and TDV, which is -4. So that's 4 degrees colder than whatever the standard temperature is at flight level 300. So it should be around -49. We'll double check that. PilotEdge 3013 for the Altimeter. Current with information Victor. And West Ops Oakland, we're going to plan 30. Check CBDLC because LAX is CBDLC capable. So 3650 MD11, Slant Lima because we're RVSM capable, GPS, GNSS, whatever. And that's fine. This is fine. So flight plan on file. So we are down here at the FedEx ramp. So we'll get 25 left departure. I have this open on my laptop, so it's easy to get frequencies. They're all in ball type. We're south complex, so 12175, 20.95 for tower. And we're going to do the Lady J, I'm assuming, see what we get our clearance. But so top altitude 8,000, 251 initial heading at 640 feet. We can go direct to hyper, but below 3,000. We'll probably get climb via the 6 at maintain 5,000. So initial top altitude is 5,000. If we're told to climb via the SID before EVOs, then we still have to make sure that we can't go above 5,000 until after EVOs. And then we got to be above 7,000 here and 8,000 right on the money at Lady J, top altitude. So we can't go higher than that until we're cleared. Sometimes they'll say climb via the SID except maintain flight level 190. They say that, that means we have to climb via under 5, above 7, at 8, then we can climb to 190. Always read your notes. Maintain at or above 250 knots until otherwise directed. We're going to do the MZO3 arrival into Oakland. So above 28, above 22, between 15 and 19, between 9 and 10. The speeds is at 280, at 240. And then Franny is above 41, at which point we will do a Cat 3 capable from Franny. So it's a non-vectored approach. It's a full approach. Last waypoint of the star is the first waypoint of the approach, which is the initial approach fix, IAF. It's category 3, so our minimums are pretty much nothing. 100 DA. So some people would, it'd be useful if this plane had a second flight plan. I don't think it's ever going to, because I think it's modeled off an earlier aircraft, so no such luck. But sometimes if you have a second flight plan, the best thing to do is to set up for opposite flows, especially if you have variable winds. So right now we're going to set up for 30 to land into Oakland, but what happens if the wind change halfway there and the ops changes to 12? So what I like to do is use the second flight plan in planes that actually have it and set up. And the reason that this is important is MZO3 is only for West ops 30 and 28s. There is no runway 12 assigned to the MZO3. So in that case, we would have to transition to the Schism 2, and this is for landing runway 12. So in flight plan 2, I would have the Schism 2 with the ILS Cat 1 approach for 12. So that's a good thing to use second flight plans for, is for airport flows. Los Angeles is looks like a little bit of a tailwind, but that's fine. And Oakland, a little bit of a tailwind, crosswind. It's 4 knots, won't even notice it. There's no weather, wind calm on the surface. No turbulence really. Practically no clouds and no ice. So all good. Let's get going. See if my weather matches my injector. So the current weather, I just saw it on the other page, but let me bring it up on PilotEdge, on my laptop I mean. LAX 130 at 3. Yep, right on the money there. 14 degrees Celsius. Okay. All right, here is the rotate MD11. So the first thing I did, make sure the sound pack works. I switched from GE to Pratt because I like the GE is the same sounds that they use in the Flight Factor A350. So just to have a little bit of a different sound set for my ears, we're going to use the Pratt & Whitney, even though the engines on this are GE. But at least I won't hear the same sounds that I'm used to hearing in the A350. Another thing I've learned with this plane that I'm not 100% certain that you have to do this. I know I've been getting like fuel errors. So I think I have it figured out to where I can prevent it. Hopefully, we'll see. But one thing I've noticed is to load the plane before you put power on it. Uh, Again, I don't know if that's a determining factor. I think the APU drains the center tank and then creates an imbalance, and then the fuel system goes haywire. So I just don't use the APU anymore until I'm ready to actually start up. So we're just going to use ground power until we're ready to go. Um, so we're going to go to Load Manager and those weights that we needed. Looking at it on my laptop here. So payload, it's 1761. Block fuel, 36554. Taxi is always 2000. The trip fuel is the very top one, which is 16247. And some people would tell you to you have to move the CG to where this is like 30, but I have had no problems. I like my CG more in this center, and this works perfectly for me. So now we've got all that entered. I'm going to go to ground operations. We're going to add the ground power unit. Open up our doors, and now we're going to load the aircraft. So when I do this, you'll see the aircraft will bounce a little bit. This thing,
sorry, no service here.
Yeah, whatever. It does that every time. I don't know what to do with that. This thing loads a little too quick. I like the AnyBuild's A306 as far as loading is concerned. I think it's a little bit better done. Before you know it, this thing is done loading. And they disappear. The AnyBuilds, actually, you can watch the cargo being pushed back into the cargo hold. It looks like these push back, but they do disappear. Like you can't see them inside the plane. I think eventually they'll make better animations for this part. Plus, like, who's going to be watching the load the entire time? So I kind of like, actually, the more I think about it, I kind of like the idea that it goes quick. Because do you really want to sit here and watch it load for 30 minutes? Like, no. So I kind of like this. So in hindsight, I kind of hope they don't change it. All right, so we are loaded up. And one thing you will notice, as I'll show you when I get to that point. All right, so let's do battery on. Let me see here. Get out my checklist. Chocks are there, so we'll release the brake. And I should have checked to make sure the radar wasn't on first, but I already knew it's not anyway. Check our fire lights. You won't get sound with this even when it's working because of DC power is not connected. Alright, I like my logo light on. Do seatbelts, smoking. Cabin lighting is here if you need it. Dome light is here. And I think that's, oh yeah, in here. So you have this for lighting and these for lighting. And we're going to do an emergency light test, which you'll see a pass on the PFD or whatever that's called. So you have to first arm it, and then you press and hold this, and you'll see the pass. See, emergency light pass. And then we'll check the good old voice recorder here. Little thing goes up, and the cargo will flash, and it will also give noise once Mango fixes their sound pack, because right now it screws that up. Alright, I'm going to open up my web FMS, web FMC I think it's called actually. And I think elevation 127. Alright, I thought FedEx had, I'm pretty sure it does. Dang it, where is it? Imperial? There we go. So we need to check. I am at 2. We're sitting right here. So FedEx ramp should be this GPS coordinate. We're gonna do FMC. Eric is good till February of 23, so all that is updated. So flight plan in it. We are at LAX heading to Oakland. It's kind of Airbus-ish. And our alternate is SMF. Alright, so you got 3356.1. So we need to see if that we can change that to a 1. There we go. You have the arrows up and down here. So the other side 1823.0. So we need to click here. And that moves these arrows. So I'm using these arrows to move that. So 1823.3. looks like it just aligned on its own. So that'll work. So we'll hit initialize. And we are FedEx 3650. And we can come over here. You can go reference, position reference, and page 2. And this will give you the, oh, I did it on this one by mistake. So let me go back to init. And then reference, position, page 2. So we got 9 minutes till we are aligned and we can start moving. So until that's done, you don't want to move. And there's a few tests like the terrain test that you can't do until the alignment is complete. So just a couple things there to think about. Now, normally this would give you sounds, but we have engine 1, 2, and 3.
Engine 2, fire. Engine 3, fire.
Okay, and you can see from the fuel that it did load what I wanted, which was 36.5. So it did load, even though it said it didn't have the capabilities or whatever. Running off external, all that is fine. All right, now we're going to do an air test. So to do that, you press and hold the light test until you hear the overspeed 5 times. And then once you hear it 5 times, you'll see the air test will display here, and then you can release the button.
Overspeed. 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 Overspeed.
Air system test.
Overspeed.
Now you can let go, and it's going to go through its test. So this plane's kind of funny like that. You have to like do one test to start another. Like it's kind of weird, but if you do your homework, you'll know that. So I'm trying to make this flight somewhat instructional. I'm no expert by any means. I've only flown this a couple times. Still not very good at flying it, that's for sure, as you will soon find out. Alright, cargo temp high on that, 12 o'clock on aft. And we need at least 10 quarts of oil, so we're good there. Hydro, we need at least 6. So we're good there. Now it's time for a hydro test. So this, you just click that on, and hydraulic pressure test. You'll see these will start to increase in pressure one at a time. You don't have to watch it. And while that's going on, we'll put the, you don't put this on right away, as I've learned. You also want to make sure there's no batteries charging when you do turn it on. The emergency power. stare at this hydraulics long enough to see if it shows you something. There we go. So the hydraulic test takes a little bit to accomplish, but it's kind of cool that they simulate that, you know. While that's doing its thing, you're not going to have any ATC if you don't do something down here. So we'll monitor ground, which is south end 121.75. So we got to pop that, and then spin them to the right. And let me say 121.75. And tower 2095. So now we'll hear some ATC whenever they just. That guy was far away. Alright, ATIS 135.65.
Clouds at 16,000. Temperature 16, 3.2. Altimeter 3012. Arriving runways 24 right, 25 left. Static. Departing runways 24 left, 25 right. ILS runway 24 right and 25 left approach in use or vector for visual approach will be provided. Simultaneous visual approaches to all runways are in progress. Simultaneous instrument departures in progress. VFR departures contact clearance delivery. Advise on course heading, altitude, and if flight following is requested. Read back runway assignments and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information whiskey. Los Angeles International Airport. ATIS information whiskey. 1.
Alright, looks like the altimeter is 12 now. So this thing has like QFE and QNH. So the QNH is the main one I used. I used the QFE initially just to make sure that my field elevation is right. So this orange should be level with this. If it's not, then you are definitely wrong on your altimeter setting. Looks like the hydraulic test is done. No warnings, otherwise we would have gotten a warning there. These need flat limit and elevator are on auto. This is also a push-pull. If you use the hand, it will pull it and it'll put it into manual, so we don't want to do that. We want everything on auto. And we're going to go ahead and start our A-cars.
SoCal approach, copy a 619 Victor Bravo.
Guy's obviously on the wrong radio or frequency or something.
Last aircraft calling, still a lot of static.
Download the dispatch, which I think I already did, so it should be right. Yep. Go to main, click start, and now we are all legal and we'll get credit for the flight through my FedEx virtual. Alright, now we need to do the windshield defog button there. Now we check our config.
SoCal approach, November 619 Victor Bravo.
When it's reaching SoCal, trying to anyway, there's a lot of static. You're either on a wrong frequency or you're at a bad altitude, one or the other.
Alright, that's just to check, make sure all those lights work. Down arrow only. And now we're going to get our clearance.
SoCal approach, November 619, Victor Bravo.
Number 619 Victor Bravo, SoCal.
We request flight following. We're at 6,500 right now, heading to Kilo Sierra November Alpha.
It's really hard to hear you. November 619 Victor Bravo, squawk 0353.
0353.
Alright, that'll take about 30 seconds for us to get a response. And then once we get a response, we can start typing in some flight plan
Number
stuff.
619 Victor Bravo, radar contact 6.5.
Still have,
Say your altitude.
looks like we're aligned.
6,500.
Number 9 Victor Bravo.
You can also know if you're aligned because you'll have a white taxi.
Following request.
If it's not white taxi, then that means you're not aligned. So we are good there.
619 Victor Bravo.
You go ATC message, next, standby, previous, clear to Oakland, Lady J4, Corez, ask file, climb via, accept maintain 5, expect 300 on 10. Departure 125.2,
SoCal approach,
squawk
November 619 Victor Bravo.
Now, there he goes. He's got a
We're at
better,
6,500 feet, and
must have been his altitude.
Following to Kilo Sierra
7062.
Number 619 Victor Bravo.
25-2,
What is your aircraft type?
accept.
And are you staying at 6,500?
Previous.
We'll remain at 6,500, and I
Alright,
am a
all
Columbia
good
400.
there.
Number 9 Victor Bravo, roger. The March altimeter 3010.
So
3010. 619 Victor Bravo.
we're all good with the flight plans. Let me reconnect my weather injector because I can't do both. They do not play nicely together, those two programs, for whatever reason. Alright, now for the fun part, right? Again, I am no expert at this. I think I've learned enough to, I can go through the steps here. Alright, so first thing we need is our cruise, and that wind, which was -4. So you make it colder by 4, right? So we're going to cruise at 300, and that gives us a temperature of 44. So we're going to add 4 more to that, so it'd be actually -48. And we're going to be dealing with a headwind of, I think it was 33, which I showed you earlier. Yeah. Average wind component -33. So if it's minus, that means headwind. So HD. So we're going to do -48, and we're going to do HD
SoCal approach 619 Victor Bravo has
33.
At John Wayne.
We're going to do a cost
Number 9
index
Victor Bravo, roger.
of 95.
Number 9 Victor Bravo, are you familiar with Signal Peak?
And then we're going to do
I looked that
flight
up
plan.
prior to my flight, yes.
Perfect.
619 Victor
We'll
Bravo.
fly Signal Peak and expect runway 2 left.
And we're going to do 25 left.
Signal peak and expect runway 2 left. 619 Victor Bravo.
Lady J and Corez. So we're doing 25 left. Always do the runway first. That will give you only the SIDs that are accompanied, that will work with that runway. So you can like get rid of a lot of the SIDs that won't even work. Anyway, yeah, so do that. And then we're going to insert. And then we're going to scroll up a little bit until we get to Oakland, star, ILS 30, full approach from Franny via MZO 3, starting at R good. And there is our arrival, so we're going to insert that, and then there's a disco, so we're going to clear out the disco. Then we're going to go back to the init page 2, and we're going to soft key these over. So block fuel, zero fuel weight, takeoff weight, all that is fine. And then we're just going to move these over as well. These bottom ones, they should be relatively close. (27.2), 23.9. So I find I get errors if I don't make them match exactly. So as long as it's close, I'm okay with it. So we're going to soft key those over. And then we're looking at the flight plan is around 300 so miles, so we're going to do program, and distance to Oakland's 311, so that's close enough. And then nav, the ILS for 25 left, if we need to come back here, you have to use the identifier. So we're going to do radnav. The identifier is I or L. Maybe it's an L for localizer. So now it's I. I for ILS. So I and then LAX.
Number 9 Victor Bravo, contact SoCal approach 128.1.
I,
128.1,
LAX.
thank you.
And then the course is 251.
19 Victor Bravo.
And we'll put that there. So if we need to come back, we can instantly just copy this and put it there, and we would have an ILS to use. But I don't need that right now, so we're going to clear it out.
619 Victor Bravo at 6500.
And now we're going to go to perf.
Number 619 Victor Bravo, SoCal approach.
Thrust
John
limit.
Wayne, altimeter 3010.
We're going to do takeoff 1, kind of a little bit of a D-rate,
Victor Bravo.
since I'm not using flex because I don't have an actual calculator for that. So I don't worry about flex. Alright, trans 18, all that is fine. Takeoff. So climb thrust shows 16, 28. I think the
SoCal approach, Columbia 619 Victor Bravo, request to start my descent to 2500, 19 Victor Bravo.
Number 9 Victor Bravo, no need to request permission. Your VFR, no hard altitude is assigned. So your descent is at your discretion.
Descent at my discretion, 619 Victor Bravo.
accelerate. That accelerate's important because with the autopilot. And then engine out, we'll do 25. The temperature is 16 Celsius, so we'll put 16. If you click it again, it'll give you the actual Fahrenheit, so it should match 61 degrees. I will leave it there. And the runway slope is, I'm using the TBM performance calculator because it gives me the slope of the runway. LAX next. Runway 25 left. Runway slope 0.2. So up 0.2, and the headwind, I actually have a calculator for that. which is, you can just Google headwind calculator and you can find a dozen of them. LAX, and I'm looking for runway 25. Doesn't have to be 25 left or right, just 25. And that actually gives us a tailwind component of 1.5. So TL1, actually I won't do point, so we'll just say 2 knots. If I can hit the right button. Alright, we're going to do flaps 22. And then we're going to smash the 136, 52, and 58. And when you do that, they will populate the V-speeds here. Alright. Alright, so we're going to rotate at 152 knots. Top altitude is 5,000. Well, initial top altitude, 5,000. We'll leave 250. That's going to reset on its own when we get to the climb out to the V2 plus 20 or whatever. Initial heading is I briefed it already to 251. And now we'll come up here and we'll get APU fired up. Takes a little bit, but that way you're not messing with your fuel, because right now all the fuel is even. So I think by running the APU it drains the center tank and it screws up, and then I get all sorts of fuel errors. Not every time, but it's like random. It was enough that I didn't want to deal with it anymore.
About 1 o'clock 10 miles report when you have it in sight.
Bravo has John Wayne inside.
So now you can do the terrain test
Bravo,
because
airport inside.
the alignment is done. So
you don't have to do that.
press that for about 2 seconds and then let
You're
go.
having to do that. Is that the airport?
And
No.
then normally you would
Okay.
hear noises,
Not
but
this.
it's another thing that got messed up.
A lot of traffic around here too. I don't know if you heard me.
Guy's got an open mic.
The SoCal approach 619 Victor Bravo has John Wayne in sight. SoCal approach 619 Victor Bravo has John Wayne in sight. 619 Victor Bravo.
Number 649 Victor, correction 619 Victor Bravo. Yeah, you had a stuck mic there, so I could hear you. Contact John Wayne Tower now 126 plane.
126.8. 619 Victor Bravo.
We're going to turn on the auxiliary. So we'll have brake
John Wayne
pressure.
Tower, Columbia 619 Victor Bravo.
Set the brake.
Number 619 Victor
APU
Bravo,
is
John Wayne Tower,
connected,
overflight signal
so
peak, join right base, runway 2 left.
external power
Right base.
is released.
619 Victor
Get the
Bravo.
APU bleed on. I don't know why that happens, but we'll cycle the spoilers. And now we can come up here and get rid of all this. I'm going to check my ACARs on my laptop here. shows I am online on my ACAR, so good to go. I'm going to set our transponder now. 7062. Put that in mode C.
Ground to cockpit, plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu when you're ready. Ground to cockpit, toes driving up.
Alright, all the doors are shut. Do beacon light on. And since we're not at a gate, we'll just go ahead and start her up. By hitting the ignition A or B, the packs will automatically close for engine start.
Okay, all doors, hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
And we'll start engine 1 first here. I guess I'll label this video Cold and Dark. Might help other people find my video if I call it what it is. Rotate MD11 Cold and Dark. You know, people are searching for it, like a tutorial type of thing. That's how I usually search, Cold and Dark, so maybe I'll get some more views that way. If you guys like my material on YouTube, please hit that share, like, and subscribe buttons.
So connected, bypass
I don't.
inserted. Police park brake.
Most of the views are
Starting
from
pushback.
non-subscribers, so which is cool, but it's going to help get my videos out there and make my channel more accessible if y'all actually hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost anything, and if you don't want to be alerted, then just turn the little bell thing off. But it will help the channel get it out there. Right now I only have like 150 so odd subscribers. And
Victor Bravo, wind
I try to
040
make my
at
channel
192 left,
educational,
clear
and one day,
Clear to land, 619 Victor Bravo.
if I get enough subscribers and enough interest in this channel, I intend on doing live streams on YouTube to help answer questions live. So, you know, I don't get anything out of doing this video. I'm not getting anything out of it. This is strictly for my viewers. So anything that you guys, if you think it's worthwhile, then hit that sub button. I think the last time I've asked everyone for the sub button, I got some more subs. So you guys are helping out, and I do appreciate it. And yeah, I'll make this happen. Everything so far so good. All the gas is even, mostly. I really think that's the issue with the having the APU going. I mean, I understand, like, I had the APU going on other flights, you know, to simulate heating and cooling, but it just messes with the fuel too much. Once this goes away, then we'll know, there we go. Everything is good to go as far as engine start. So we're gonna set flaps. You gotta do it. I used a honeycomb flat switch instead of an axis. You gotta do like one at a time, just the way that this is set up. So don't try using a flap axis. I mean, I guess you could, but it's easier because first notch is slats, second notch is 22, and it will show up here and here. Is this thing gonna stop pushing or what?
Brother Victor Bravo, where do you park?
We're going to go over to signature. 19 Victor Bravo.
.22 on the flaps.
Bravo, parking. 619 Victor Bravo, parking in signature.
And Brother Victor Bravo, signature's not here anymore. You've got ACI East or West or Clay Lacey.
Alright, let me pause this video for a second. Alright, I did not realize that the better pushback was totally messed up. I've never done I can't remember doing a turn in the pushback. So, keep that in mind. Just do straight back. I'm going to make a note of that in my notes. Because it kept going. The only way I could get it to quit was to come up here to admin, plug in admin and actually disable it. Like, it would not let go. Hopefully Mr. Marcus on PilotEdge didn't see that, but he probably did. It's all good. Turn that off. That should correct that bleed. All right, the trim is 6.3. We got right and left. Okay, controls are working. Turn on them lights. Uncage in our altimeter. .3012. Traffic and data. APU will shut down automatically.
Ground, Walker 538,
I think after like 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes after engine start, or maybe it's after you turn off the APU bleed, it will automatically shut off. So you don't have to turn a bleed off. It does it on its own.
Roger that. Hotel Ground, Walker 538.
I think probably right after you turn off the bleed, I think that's when the timer starts on that. Alright, so let's do a few ECAM checks here. So engines are good. Hydro looks good. Air, fuel. And that's just the brake. Tiller is assigned to an axis, so I'd be steering by tiller and not the brakes, or rudder pedal, I mean. Takeoff checks are done. Takeoff config check. I might actually get. Oh yeah, it did. Okay.
Picket Tower, Walker 538, holding short runway 8 left, ready for takeoff.
Just want to make sure that they work.
Walker 538, Tri Tower 118.75.
11875, Walker 538.
Disregard, I'll just get you off on this frequency. So be Walker 538 with Vegas Tower runway 8 left. Ready for takeoff and wind 050 at 14.
Clip takeoff runway 8 left, appreciate the help. Walker 538.
This has a firewall switch, but it's not simulated. That's okay. Alright, so we're going to do auto brake for takeoff, and we're going to arm the spoilers. I'm just going to get D8 to save a little bit of time. Current with whiskey. And I'm on ground, and standby is tower. Afternoon, Los Angeles ground, FedEx 3650 heavy cargo with whiskey ready to taxi.
FedEx 3650 heavy, Las Vegas ground, correction, Los Angeles ground, runway 25 left, taxi Alpha Foxtrot.
25 left via Alpha Foxtrot, FedEx 3650 heavy.
Walker 538.
I still have my track IR is set for my F-18 Hornet, which is why it's all kind of, it's good for like dogfighting type stuff. Not so good for this, so I'll fix that after I take off. Or actually I'll fix it when I get to the hold short line.
Vegas departure, Walker 538, climbing through 5,300 on the radar 2.
So you can see I'm moving the tiller, like that's how I'm steering.
Contact verified, climbing via SID.
Affirm, climb via SID, Walker 538.
And don't ever hit the auto flight button until you are actually on the runway, because if you give it too much gas on the taxi, it will activate your auto throttle, which right now is clamped, but it will activate it and it will spool up to take off power. So yeah, don't mash it till you're actually lined up looking down the runway. I've seen some people in videos
Walker
do that
538, climb and maintain flight level 100.
while they're taxiing, and I'm like, well,
190 from Walker 538.
that could end badly.
Clearance delivery, 19 Victor Bravo.
This calling clearance was broken.
Clearance delivery, 619 Victor Bravo.
How can I help you?
Yes, we're requesting flight following to Foxtrot 70. We're going to be heading out at 134 degrees at 5,500.
There we go. Now it's a lot better. Alright, we'll get a green box there when we're ready, like when we take the brake off.
Victor Bravo, would you like the El Toro departure procedure? 080 heading.
Arturo will be fine. 619 Victor Bravo.
Switch to
Number 619 Victor Bravo, Charming clearance on departure, right turn heading 080. Maintain VFR at below 3,000 until advised. Local departure 128.1, squawk 0451.
Right turn to 080, maintain VFR below 3,000, frequency 1281, frequency 0451.
Number 619 Victor Bravo, read back is correct. Say type aircraft when you're able, please.
Columbia 400.
Perfect, thank you.
Los Angeles Tower, FedEx 3650 Heavy, holding short 25 left.
FedEx 3650 Heavy, Los Angeles Tower, only 25 left, cleared for takeoff. Wind calm.
25 left, cleared for takeoff, FedEx 3650 Heavy.
Walker 538, contact LA Center 133.2.
33.2 for Walker 538.
It's the only plane I have in my entire arsenal of planes that uses a tiller, so I keep wanting to use the rudder. I can do full left rudder and it won't do anything. The rudder will start to work at about 50 knots, so keep that in mind when you're takeoff, that you're not going to have rudder authority until you get a little speed, so you have to use your tiller until you gain enough speed. Alright, now we can mash auto flight, and that puts that into clamp. And now we have a green box. Alright, let's roll. So we're going to bring up the throttles, and the throttles will take over. Just bring those things right to there, and then it will go into auto throttle. See what I mean? So it went like full power on you, and you don't want to do that until you're ready to actually do that. So yeah, that could be a bad day. Alright, we're fast enough now. I can use rudder and that tiller.
Bullhead Tower, good afternoon. Kodiak 90281 Romeo's Kodiak 100 slant golf. We're 11 miles to the south of the field. We have information.
B1 rotate.
Lima, we're looking for a full stop, descending out of 6,000.
Positive rate, gear coming up. Take out 1 notch of flaps.
Radar 281 Romeo, Bullhead Tower, straight in, runway 34, report a 4-mile final.
Straight in for runway 34, we'll report a 4-mile final. 90281 Romeo, thank you.
FedEx 3650, heavy contact departure.
Over to departure, FedEx 3650 Heavy, see you. Alright, now you gotta spin this up.
Yuma delivery, good afternoon. Clipper 921, clearance to John Wayne, please.
Clipper 921, Yuma clearance, on request, standby.
SoCal departure, FedEx 3650 Heavy, climbing via the J4, leaving 2,800 for 5,000.
FedEx 3650 Heavy, SoCal departure, radar contact. Climb and maintain 10,000.
Climb, maintain 10,000, FedEx 3650 Heavy.
Bravo.
0,000. So that means we
John
can
Wayne
just
ground,
go
Columbia
straight there
649,
and we don't
Mr.
have to
Bravo.
worry about
Go
profile.
ahead.
Yes, we're over here west of West Ramp, looking to taxi depart to the east.
Number 6100 Victor Bravo, John Wayne ground, runway 2 left, taxi via Bravo Delta.
2 left, Broadway, Bravo 2 left, 619 Victor Bravo. Nope.
Number 619er Victor Bravo, runway 2 left, taxi via Bravo Delta.
Runway 2 left, Bravo Delta, 619 Victor Bravo.
Clipper 921, Yuma clearance. Cleared to John Wayne Airport via the barred VOR, then it's filed. Maintain 5,000. Expect flight level 280 within 1 minute. Departure 125.55. Squawk 2502.
All right, we're cleared to John Wayne, barred then as filed. Maintain 5,000, 280 in 10 minutes. Departure 125.55, squawk 2502 for Clipper 921.
Clipper 921, read back, correct.
If I would have mashed profile, it would have made those restrictions.
Tower, Kodiak Commander 281 Romeo, 4 mile final.
481 Romeo, wind 340
But he cleared us to 10,000, so we don't have to worry about restrictions.
Runway 34, clear to land, 90281 Romeo.
FedEx 3650, contact LA Center 135.5.
LA Center, Windtree 5.5, FedEx 3650 Heavy. 35.5 is LA Center. LA Center, FedEx 3650, 10,000.
FedEx 3650, heavy LA Center, cancel speed restriction, now climb and maintain flight level 230.
Cancel speed restriction, climb, maintain flight level, I'm sorry, what was the altitude?
230.
Climb, maintain flight level 230, FedEx 3650. I don't know what this thing is doing, honestly. It's in climb. Just force it to go faster, I guess. I guess you could look at it as one way. It's not like an Airbus where you just tell it to do something and it will do it. Like, you gotta pay attention to this one.
FedEx 3650, contact LA Center 133.2.
LA Center 133.2, FedEx 3650.
Stabilizer motion.
332. LA Center, FedEx 3650, 16,200, climbing flight level 230.
FedEx 3650, Los Angeles, FedEx, climb and maintain flight level 300.
Climb maintain flight level 300, FedEx 3650. Let's do 300. And profile is that. What does it show? Climb should be
November 928, when Romeo taxi departing via Alpha, remain this frequency. Have a good day.
Now we're accelerating. Yeah, like I said, guys, I'm still very new to this plane, so working out all the quirks. Quirky? Alright, get that.
November 619 Victor Bravo, John Wayne Tower, runway 2 left, clear for takeoff.
I should start climbing like a bat out of hell here in a second. Alright, packs are on, fuel is good. Cabin altitude is climbing. So this 40 miles is the circle. I still need to set views. No, I'll set some views at cruise. I got a little off course on the takeoff. Maybe I should have mashed heading first. Plane just kind of went off on its own. Plus I wasn't completely sure at what time, like how high do I have to be to activate heading.
November 733 Alpha Mike, San Luis Tower, make straight in runway 29er, runway 29er, clear to land.
But yeah, we're climbing at like 3,000 feet per minute.
November 619 Victor Bravo,
through
altitude
23,000 feet, so this thing's a rocket ship. Fly by time.
November 619 Victor Bravo, radar contact departure. Roger. November 619 Victor Bravo, look out the pressure, resume on navigation, then appropriate via for altitude.
Alright guys, I'm going to pause the recording for a little bit, so I won't bore you with this, and I'll see you shortly. Alright guys, we're switching to Oakland. We're at our cruise. We're going to check in at flight level 300. Oakland Center, FedEx 3650, flight level 300.
FedEx 3650, Oakland Center, descend via the M zone, 3 arrival, open altimeter 3022.
Descend via the M03 arrival 3022 FedEx 3650.
President 704, contact Glacier Tower 124.55.
Return to Northern Air 704, sit.
President 704, Glacier Tower, wind call, runway 2, clear land. President 704, last reported visibility at 1 mile, light snow, and freezing fog. Vertical visibility at 1200, no RVR reported.
So our top of descent would be perf 60 miles top of descent. So we're going to check our constraints here. Told me to descend via M03. So 2019's top of descent at Argood. And then my jaw is 280 at 220. All that looks shabby. Hydraulics are good. Looks like we're heading to Argood, so the fuel that we would need or expected to have at Argood is 23.4. We're at 24 now, so that's good. Got 3 good gens. Cabin pressure is good. Cool things down a little bit in the cockpit. Not having any fuel issues because not running that APU in the beginning. Only use it to start and you should be okay. So about 20 miles prior to top of descent, we'll lower the altitude. One thing I had to do, I asked permission while I had the recording paused to pause the sim while I change a setting. I had meant to do it on the ground, but I totally forgot. I needed to add a command on my yoke to turn off the auto throttle, which I believe is this button here. And of course, with the throttle moving, that would be impossible. So hopefully I assigned the right one. If I didn't, then I guess we'll try to hit that button. Because the auto throttle will kick off, but it'll only kick off when you're like 10 feet above it.
Are there 704
above
right,
the runway.
when you're able. Bravo,
so it
back
makes
to
it
the
kind
terminal ramp,
of
cross runway 30 on
difficult
Bravo.
at times. Okay. Alright, D8 is for Oakland. It's 3022, like he said. Information Papa. Landing 30, wind 220 at 6 knots, 10-mile visibility, a few clouds at 20,000 AGL. So whenever you see the few clouds reference on a METAR, that is always AGL, not MSL. So don't expect to, descend through the clouds at exactly flight level 200 because that's above ground. So what if ground was 6,000 feet? So yeah, so METAR is always AGL, so you kind of have to do the math to figure out when you might break out. I wish they would do MSL, that would be so much easier, but not so much. Alright, we're about 30 miles out from the top of descent. So we're going to go ahead and lower this to the lowest that we can go on the star, which is 41. We'll give that a look-see. Alright, theoretically this thing should start on its way down once we get to the top of descent. Let the crew know in the back there that we're fixing to descend. Profile bar came up, so that's good news. So now we are descending. Good news, good news. So even though we were told that we were clear to descend via, since we didn't descend right away, we gotta let them know when we're leaving our last assigned altitude. Of course, if you're VFR or flight following, you don't have to worry about that. But when you're IFR in Class Alpha airspace, you got to. Oakland Center, FedEx 3650 is leaving 300.
FedEx 3650, roger, thanks.
So the first speed restriction is at my jaw, which looks like it's the next one up. Should be 280 knots. Right now we're at 0.82 Mach, so the ILS for be nice if this had a EFB, maybe one day. For $85, it sure doesn't have a whole lot of extra features. Probably won't fly this plane a whole lot because there's other planes that I enjoy more, but I fly something a lot until I feel like I understand it pretty good, and then I just go in the order of stuff that I enjoy flying the most. Get rid of that for a moment. Looks like my sim's loading in all this scenery or something. Seven 296. It should auto tune, but if it doesn't, we'll have it set. So this is the identifier INB, IINB, with a 296. So we're going to use that.
FedEx 3650 Heavy, contact NorCal approach now 120.905.
NorCal approach 120.905, FedEx 3650. Come back to that. So 120 and 95. Let me double check my D8 here. Oakland is current with Papa, so 3022. Zoom in here so I can see my actual altitude. NorCal approach, FedEx 3650 Heavy, descending via the M03, leaving flight level 237. Current with Papa, request ILS 30 from Franny.
FedEx 3650 Heavy, NorCal approach. Thanks for all, and expect that altimeter 3022.
3022, and I can plan on that. FedEx 3650 Heavy. Should have been 280. About 220, so that's fine. Doesn't do a very good job at slowing down, does it? Doesn't account for that. The developer did write in the forums that is in the works in the future is to have a download of descent winds, climb and descent winds. That helps tremendously with my other like Airbuses. It will calculate what the plane needs to do to pitch-wise AOA. Anyway. Let's punch this in, shall we? So navrad, it should auto assign, but we'll put this in. So IINB/296, and that way we can just match it up there if we need to. Okay, we're coming up on get them between 15 and 190, so we're on profile. Next speed is 240 at my rib, so we'll keep an eye on that. So you got to really mind the speeds for this thing, but that's all right. Planes like this, you got to kind of pick your battles, like pick the routes that are the easiest with the equipment that you have available to you. So there are definitely some flights that I know are way more complicated than this one that I would never even attempt with this plane. It's just too much of a workload for a single pilot. If this had like a co-pilot capability, shared cockpit or whatever it's called, then I would probably do more complicated stuff with it, but this one you got to really pick your battles. All right, 3022, so we're going to 3022, set that. Two. Never noticed it before. I guess this is the profile. It's not a very good one though. It's like this thing bounces around. I was right in the middle of the profile. Let's see. Next one is between 9 and 10 at my rib. We also got to slow to 240 knots. It's 10,250 knots there. Looks like we're catching up to the profile. I've got full brake in. You gotta really watch the speed with this thing, that's for darn sure. .34.5 is sometimes the final approach controller, which will authorize the instrument approach. I think I'm gonna add, I'm just gonna keep this locked in there and just keep some air brake in. There's no icing to worry about.
FedEx 3650, heavy contact, NorCal approach 134.5.
NorCal approach 134.5, FedEx 3650 heavy. 34.5. NorCal approach, FedEx 3650 heavy, descending via MZO 3, leaving 1,300.
FedEx 3650 heavy, NorCal approach, altimeter 3022 after Franny, cleared the ILS runway 30 approach.
3022 after Franny, cleared ILS 30 approach, FedEx 3650 heavy. Alright, we're at 10,000 turn on all the lights. We're slowing to 240.
Stabilizer motion.
That's fine, that's just the stabilizer motion. Alright, missed approach procedure. Climb to 600, then left turn to 4,000 on a 260 heading. I'm not gonna mess with that right now. So we'll reset for 4,000. And the missed approach is already in there, so we're good there. Slowing down too much. So every time you change the speed, you gotta mash the button, or you gotta pull the button. So if you change it from 240 to 230, you gotta pull it every time. Every time. Do a flaps 50 landing, so we'll worry about that in a little bit. We got to cross Miney at exactly 7,000 feet. That's an altitude check for their the approach controllers to make sure we have the right altimeter setting, because it's mountainous. So they want, you know, for our safety, that's why there's a hard crossing at 7,000 right on the money. So we're going to cross at 7,000. Yep. All good. And then missed approach procedure is 4,000. Final approach is 2, so we'll just bring this down to 2 since we're cleared to fly the approach. So this is not a profile, this is just restriction, so I'm not sure what the next restriction. Next restriction is mining. No, that was mining. So Myshin 62. I see. Okay. Starting to understand how this thing works now. And there's no more speed restrictions, but it should automatically slow us down to 161. That might change though. I'd be curious. So my tow right now is 161. See if that changes when we change the approach. Alright, so now we're getting a no glide slope thing, so that means it probably activated it. 1087-296. That's correct, so it did auto assign, so I just had that there as a backup. So we'll mash 50 here in a few seconds. we can do 1 notch slats. Tower's 127.2. Got that when they're ready. So dial flap is 240. So we'll slow down to 220. Mash that again. And we'll do another notch of flaps there. Come over here. Put auto brake on land. Arm those thingamabobbers.
Stabilizer motion.
Salt Lake clears delivery, Caravan 6430 Buffalo.
Alright, so that changed
Go ahead with your request.
VREP to 150.
No request. Actually, I've been troubleshooting some comm problems. I think I got it fixed.
155.
Roger.
So it did change it a little bit. Okay. VREP is 150. So after Franny, it's going to go to 192. So we can go to FMS speed now. Follow her down. Alright, auto brake, spoilers, seat belts are now on. And we'll put this on approach mode.
Stabilizer motion. Stabilizer motion.
This thing slowed down quicker than I thought it would.
FedEx 3650, heavy contact tower 127.2.
Over to tower 127.2, FedEx 3650 heavy. Mash auto land there. Oakland Tower, FedEx 3650 heavy, stops on a localizer, runway 30.
FedEx 3650, heavy Oakland Tower, wind 220 at 6, runway 30, clear to land.
Runway 30, clear to land, FedEx 3650 heavy. Alright, the one thing about this though, there is no localizer only approach, so at least not that I'm aware of. I may ask in the forums at some point. So just know that once you hit the auto land, it's going to capture both loc and glide slope. Green. Let's go FMS.
Stabilizer motion.
everything has similarities like between Boeing and Airbus and then McDonnell Douglas. Like it's just, this airplane's like a hybrid of everything I fly, so it's kind of confusing. Plus I need to learn what these colors mean. Mash the autopilot button twice. Or you have to mash the autopilot disconnect button twice. One's to turn off the autopilot, and then the other one's to silence the alarm. Let go. I turned off the auto throttle too early. Wasn't sure. Now I know it's too early. Now I know. So I'll turn off the auto throttle at, I don't know, maybe 100 feet. That probably would have been a little better. Oakland Tower, FedEx 3650 Heavy off the runway, looking for cargo.
FedEx 3650 Heavy, stay on my frequency, Victor Bravo to the cargo ramp. Have a good day.
Victor Bravo to parking with you, FedEx 3650 Heavy. Thanks, you too. We'll see you. At least I know the auto throttle disconnect button worked, so that's good. It's a fun plane. It's got some work to be done on some of this stuff, but otherwise I like it. It's pretty cool. Not too shabby. And the developers are like really good about getting back to you in the forums, and to me that is a huge bonus. Like I've given up on Flight Factor. I'm not buying any more of their airplanes just because they suck at customer service. Absolutely suck. All right, let's stop here.
Station 103 Alpha Delta, Oakland Center, roger.
are off, flaps are up and all that. Don't need the APU or anything. Transponder to standby. Disconnect from the network. Golly, I'm not filing that. That was horrible landing. 800 feet per minute? Nope. Not filing that. But I'm still learning this thing, so that was my fault. I disconnected the auto throttle way too early. So, just takes practice. I'll learn when to do it to get the greaser landings. But hopefully this video will help people, you know, that are maybe just getting started with this or whatever. So if you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up or something. I do like a comment. If everybody wants to shoot me a comment. And yeah. Let's turn that off. Let's look at the horrible landing, shall we? Yeah, oh yeah. And a bounce. Horrible. That's right. I'll make up for that with the A340 later tonight or something. That was only like my third landing with this, I think. The other two were better, but it's only because I didn't know how to turn off the auto throttle. So I was literally like 10 feet above, just floating the entire way on the other landings prior to today. So now I know I probably just, you know, at least 100 feet maybe. Kill the throttle at 100 feet. And then I should be all right. I don't know. We'll see. Appreciate y'all watching. And we'll see you next YouTube video. Y'all take care. Chase out.